Good evening and welcome to our new show.
I made him nervous.
You did. The minute before we started, you asked me if I was going to get the show right, and I already fucked up.
So here we are.
Good evening and welcome to Why Did Not You Warn Me? I'm your host, Matthew, the Dr. Danko.
And I'm Hillary Crum, and I'm proud of you for getting that right eventually.
It wasn't that I was going to fuck up the title of the show.
You're going
to
to fuck up
leading
saying
up
it.
to the title.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Well.
No, I know. I always fuck up saying things.
Why did not you warn me?
Right.
Here we are. What did you say earlier? Something about meatloaf?
Yeah, in reference to our pork chops that we had. Look, my brain doesn't know what's going on. Just
Ever
in
at
general.
any given point.
And so it pulls words that I know
Sure.
deep in the abyss that is my mind.
Yeah.
To just say, this is that. Like,
This
pork
is
chops,
real.
it's
This is
meatloaf.
me.
Like, shut up.
Exactly.
This is the greatest show.
Oh, that too.
All right.
We went different ways.
I know.
It's okay.
But it's the same show. This is me. No?
No.
Oh.
I went something different.
Whatever. We've already lost our 4 viewers.
Right. Not even our moms can deal with this.
Right. So, this week, what I don't even think we have really anything
We have a couple things.
We have new things to talk about.
The problem is that it's been 2 days since the last time we did
That's
this.
what happens when you don't do a show, when you say you're going to do a show, and you hurt yourself and put it on the back burner for so long.
And I'm eternally sorry, and we're getting back on schedule. Here we are. So, Matt, what pop culture thing are you into this week?
So I was really scrambling for things because, again, it's been 2 days.
Right.
And I used all my material on, we did that show Sunday.
Did we really?
I don't know. It's not 2 days because today is Thursday, so it might have been Monday.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. We did our show pretty recently is the point.
Right out of the gate, this one is not going great.
It's going to be a long one, guys.
Or
and
not,
girls,
you know?
And anyone that's listening, animals, tree friends. I have to be all-inclusive. It's 2018.
So, Matt, what pop culture are you into?
So, I was
Crazy?
scrolling through Instagram, as I do, and something caught my eye. I follow a lot of people that customize action figures and like filmmakers and special
Color me
effects
surprised.
artists. I know. And one of them was like, you know that cutting mat I have?
Yeah.
It's like a gridded pattern on it. I saw that, and I saw this cardboard cutout 3D thing that said, Dave made a maze. And I was just so intrigued by that, but I read the caption on it, and apparently it was this indie film made last year. Oh, fuck. I want to get... See, I meant to do this before the show started, but...
While he's doing this, I can explain to you. He was watching this while I was falling asleep, and I looked over, and one of the actors, this guy, and I couldn't remember where I knew him from, but immediately made my skin crawl, and I was like, oh my god, who's that fucking skeevy-ass jerk face? And then I remembered, spoilers for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that was the guy that killed Willow's girlfriend, Tara. And all these years later, the sight of his stupid face just makes my skin crawl, and I didn't even know why, but fuck you, Warren.
Okay, so anyways, because he's not actually like that in real life, I hope
He
you know.
might be, you don't know.
Buffy's a television show.
It's a what?
A television show. I said it. It was just slurred. Anyways, so Dave Made a Maze is an indie film, which drew me to it even more, but it's based... the basis of it is just that this frustrated artist is not coming up with any new ideas. He has no job. He's just sitting at home, and to pass the time, he kind of builds this maze.
Really?
His name is also Dave. And the maze, it's this cardboard contraption thing that, like, it has the word enter over the doorway, and there's like a towel hanging over it. But it probably takes up the size of this room, like just the center of it. So we live in a studio apartment.
It's roughly the size of our queen bed.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, the maze is about that size. And the thing is, the beginning of the movie opens with his girlfriend coming home from work, and he's still in the maze, and she's like, well, come out, like, and he's like, no, I'm lost. And she's like, what the fuck? Well, I'm just gonna tear it down. And she starts like trying to move one of the pieces, and you hear all this like rumbling and like shit happening. And he's like, no, don't. I can't get out of here. You're gonna ruin everything. And like, I just don't.
Just chill.
Like, that's basically what happens. And it turns out that he's lost within the maze because the maze, much like the TARDIS, is bigger on the inside. So he calls his buddy over to help him out, and his buddy immediately calls like everyone they know, because this is hilarious.
Stuck in a fucking 5x5 maze.
Yeah. And then they all decide they're gonna go in after him, and they turns out to be this huge fucking thing, like this labyrinth that he made. But the labyrinth has a mind of its own, and
I'm making faces to make this more fun for him.
It's not of its own, and there's like this minotaur that lives within it, and
couldn't get a full-size tar.
I'm your host.
So a minotaur
Matthew,
lives
the
in the
Dr.
maze.
Danko. This has been the Matthew Danko podcast.
Now you're pouting.
Don't call it that. And I have no co-host. No.
I'm stuck in the maze.
So
it's amazing.
The thing about this movie, if you would stop interrupting me, is that the budget was very low. It's an independent film, so that's like one of the sweet things.
Is indie just short for independent? I'm sorry.
You being for real right now?
Yeah,
or you're just
I
messing with
actually am.
me? Okay. Yes.
Oh, I never put that together. I'm sorry. So it's an independent film with a low budget.
That's what it used to be.
Okay.
Indie used to mean independent. It might have evolved into some Urban Dictionary type shit now.
Gotcha.
But for intensive purposes, this indie is independent.
Okay.
And like indie rock, I mean, like, when you think indie, it's like small, like,
right, yeah,
almost homemade. Like,
right, indie has its own definition, which is why
that's
it
what I'm
literally
saying.
Never occurred to me.
So I don't know if there's another word that it might stand for. Or if
Keep
it's
thinking
just
about
its own
indie
word.
rock though, because that ties in.
Yes.
Here in a bit.
So back to Dave Made a Maze.
Right.
This is my time. You have your time later.
It's our time. Finally, it's our time now.
I hate you.
Claim my teas.
TM. So anyways, it's a low-budget film, and there's like one or two recognizable actors, but like recognizable to me, or like, well, I guess you, but you only watched like 3 things in your life before you met me. So.
But one of them was Buffy.
Right. So I don't know what they paid for these actors, but the production value of it is based on cardboard. Like, they use cardboard for everything. Once the maze, every room is just cardboard, and apparently they only had, from what I've read, they've only had like 2 rooms they could shoot in, and they had all this cardboard, so they would put it up for one shot, and then immediately work on the other room for the next shot. And then when they were working on that shot, they would tear down everything in the one room and put it all up a new part of the maze. Now you're in my head, so I can't fucking think.
Put it all up a new part. Yeah.
You make this so difficult. I want people to watch this movie because you won't.
Do you want me to sit here silently until you're done talking about it?
No, just chill. So the special effects in this movie, it's all practical special effects, and there's puppetry involved, and just weird shit happens once they're inside the labyrinth. And once they find the main character, he has like now a cardboard hand because it got stuck in a part of the maze and it turned him into cardboard. And like they're trying to escape the Minotaur. And they come up with this weird plan to like make like a power source for the maze, because he started from the center of the maze and built outward. And he's like, well, if it was a power source, it would be in the center of the maze. So we're gonna make it a power source. And he didn't want to make one because he didn't want it to be destroyed. Like, this is his passion project. And so they come up with a plan to do that. And this whole time, the people that are on this journey, there's like a film crew filming a documentary, and like part of it is probably just to move the plot along, because they are asking like their subjects like how they feel about a certain situation that's happening, and just use it as a plot device. But this is like a horror comedy, so the minute
Hormedy. I've been quiet for so long.
I know, but
so it's a hormedy. The minute
they enter, one of them steps on a booby trap and immediately dies.
Is it Warren?
No. He is the best friend of the main character, and he's not a dick in
shitty
this
friends.
movie. But instead of actually dying, as they would in a horror movie with blood flying everywhere, they throw confetti and silly string, and it's very whimsical and still like weird experimental indie film. I don't know, and it's hilarious. Like, a lot of the lines that these guys have, I can't think of any off the top of my head, because now I'm just thinking about you interrupting me, but
I'll just go. This is the Matthew Danko podcast.
Don't call it that. But if you guys have a second, I don't know where you can find it. I just Googled it online. You can buy it online for like $20. But I want to give a shout out to the guys that made it, because I thought it was really cool. I don't really know what it's saying. I get the artist part of it, because, you know, as an artist, it's hard to come up with ideas, and once you find something you're interested in, you put all of your effort into it. And the thing with this guy is there's some backstory that he never finishes anything, and before everyone enters the maze to go find him, the maze is unfinished. But once they come up with the, power source idea, it makes it a complete project. And there's this whole thing about not finishing anything. I don't know. Have you ever felt that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I have files of unsaved writing, or not unsaved, unfinished writing projects.
Right.
Yeah, I don't finish things.
No, it's hard to sometimes finish things.
Right.
So, but the end, it kind of just ends. Spoilers, they make it out of the maze and tear it down, and it's all in piles of cardboard, almost as much cardboard as was on the outside of it. So the fantastical inside world doesn't exist once they destroy it. And then they kind of just throw it away.
Huh. You were at a long lost strike.
Yes.
It's about that much cardboard.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what that is?
I didn't know if you were still talking.
I mean, I am, but you can explain what Long Lost is.
One of the shows that I worked on at the Utah Shakespeare Festival this summer was William Shakespeare's long lost first play, Abridged, which I believe we have referenced on here before.
Yeah.
It was a great time, but one of the first lines, one of the actors references that they're doing the show within this cart, which is a parody of Within This Wooden O from Henry V. But the set designer for Long Lost took that very, very, very literally. So we spent several weeks this summer, or I did. I worked on the show.
Yeah, I mean,
constructing and working on a set that was entirely covered in cardboard, and then we had to strike it and take it apart, and it was
like every day.
terrible. Yeah, and we had to rep cardboard.
Yeah.
And it got really beaten, as you would expect.
And there's water in the show, like
Yeah, like we hand
by
the
all
audience
means,
water guns.
It shouldn't have lasted as long as it did.
No, we replaced very little of it for
Yeah.
how beat to shit it was by the end of that run.
And I don't understand why it wasn't painted to look like cardboard as opposed to using actual cardboard. But
We have a team of very talented scenic artists. Would have been so much easier.
right.
But one of the things, because we talked a little bit about the Maze movie earlier today, and
Yeah.
you said that they collected what they thought was going to be more than enough cardboard to
Yeah.
last through this, and then like 3 weeks in, they're out of cardboard.
Yeah.
That resonated.
But yeah, that was the other thing is they didn't end up paying for any cardboard. They got their first batch from American Apparel, and then when they realized they needed more, they went back to American Apparel, but they wouldn't let them have any. But there was another, like, I can't remember, it's Soul or something, business in LA that was just like, yeah, take all this cardboard. And then they just recycled it all. Just like that. Like, yeah. But the guys that wrote this movie, Steven Sears and Bill Watterson, both of them haven't done a whole lot in terms of like directing and things like that. I mean, Bill Watterson has had some bit parts on a lot of TV shows, but Steven Sears, who actually, I guess, came up with this idea, he's only written one other thing, which is Take Back the Couch. It's another horror comedy about...
Oh, Hormity.
Hormity, TM. About furniture that comes to life, and this couple has to destroy them.
To take back the couch, as it were.
But like a few of these projects that these guys have been involved in have revolved around, practical special effects, and there's a lot of puppetry in the movie. There's, I guess, the main character Dave can do origami.
Oh.
And so within the maze, there are all these origami birds that are like from this big. Just yeah, I realize
this big
on a podcast. It doesn't matter, but like the size of your phone to like the size of a larger thing.
Of not a phone.
Yeah, of something larger than a phone, like a pillow or a
There you
television.
go. Standard size.
I don't
things.
have a.
Do they make any cranes?
I mean, they're basically cranes.
I'm just trying to make a Prison Break
I know what you're trying to
crossover.
do, but that's not what this is about.
It's not Prison Break, Prison Break, Prison Break.
No, it's not what you need. The Prison Break anthem.
Okay.
Speaking of anthems, because you ruined what I had to say, I'm still coming up with a theme song for this show.
You want to tell us what you have so far?
Well, I mean...
He very excitedly came up to me after we did the last one and said, I came up with our theme song, and this is what
you're talking about that one?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to go back to when we went to Pittsburgh, and I had like hours by myself in the car to just like think of what our podcast would sound like, and
Run us through some tracks.
yeah, I don't have any beats right now. I left my beats at home.
It's disappointing.
I know, but it's why did not you warn me? Why did not you warn? Why did not you warn me?
Now available on iTunes.
My EP, it's free.
Self-titled.
The other one was inspired by the Nickelodeons.
The
Song.
Nickelodeons.
The Nickelodeons. Yeah. The East Nickelodeons that own half the hill.
Come on, give us...
What, why did not you warn me?
Bravo.
Thank you, because I do want our show to have a theme song. My last podcast, the Matthew Danko podcast,
Don't call it that.
had a theme song that was written by the Split Level Homes.
Wow.
Yes, which is my buddy's band from high school. It was like a Sherlock Holmes type thing as well. But he's like, we wrote this song and we don't really know what it's called, but I feel like if you had a theme song, this would be what it was, and they burned me a CD. And it was sitting in my house for so long, and then I started a podcast, and like so many episodes in, I was like, I should do a theme song.
And then the song was actually Why Not by Hilary Duff?
No. That's what we should do.
That's what we should do. Matt knows every word to that song. I just like to tell people that.
It's an amazing song. It's classic rock.
Right up there with Avril Lavigne's Skater Boy.
Oh. And,
do we get to finish our segment, or are we going to move into music?
We don't get to talk about it. No. Hillary, what is... You've been... Why didn't you warn me? What have you been listening, reading, watching, playing this week?
You can just say
culture?
Reading.
I know.
Just ask me what I'm reading.
I'm giving you options, is my point.
I dragged my feet through finishing Octavian Nothing because I ordered this book back in December, and it told me that it was going to get here in February, but I was nervous. And I don't like to be without a book. But it got here this week, so I am currently reading Ready Player One for the second time. And what I've found tends to happen with me when I read books, even books that I really like, not a lot of it sticks, I think, just because I read too many damn books.
You read books?
Exactly. So I've read Ready Player One before, and I really liked it. But the movie's coming out soon, and I am very much one of those people who likes to sit there and judge and be like, well, that didn't happen in the book. It's not my most desirable characteristic, but I enjoy it.
I mean, but if you read a book in its entirety, and the book came before the movie, it's source material, so you kind of want to see how it translates to the screen. Like the Harry Potter books is the biggest and most well-known example of that, is that, like... Yes, it would be cool if everything was in the movie that was in the book, but
realistically,
from a movie standpoint, it can't be. From a book, like the reader standpoint, I get why it would be awesome if everything was in the movie.
And like, I took one of the courses that I took in undergrad was adapting and revising, and it talked a little bit. The whole focus of the course was adapting art from one medium to another. And I was just super fascinated by that. And one of the best examples of an adaptation, in my opinion, was actually Brokeback Mountain, because Brokeback Mountain was a short story
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had no idea. But it turns out that adapting a short story for screen is much easier because all you have to do is add things. You can flesh it out.
I guess that makes sense.
And help focus it in that way, instead of, you have multi-100-page novels that you're trying to condense into something cohesive and in an entirely different format. So from an artistic standpoint, the pretentious artist in me very much enjoys looking at adaptations now that I've sort of, grown up beyond the point of, well, it didn't happen that way in the book. Like, I try very much to be on the side of, if you get the essence of the story across,
then it did its job.
Yeah, then it did its job. Some of the Harry Potter movies did that. Many of them did not.
I know.
But that's a story for another day. Ready Player One, the premise of it, I do think would be very cool visually.
I mean, from the trailers that I've seen, it looks like a movie that I would have seen.
You would love this book.
Yeah.
I mean, so the premise of the book, for anyone who doesn't know, is there's this very... I got tangled up in how I wanted to
Why did not you warn me?
Exactly.
It happens to all of us. It seems to happen to me way more.
So we're in what is basically a society on the verge of collapse. And it sounds like the protagonist is a teenager. His mother, like her generation, was, I think, where we are now in society. So she saw society collapse. But all that does is place us in time. The story is told from the point of view of this, I think, 16-year-old. And they live in what's basically a very tricked out trailer park where the trailers get like stacked up on top of each other. And they do everything in what's called the Oasis, which is a computer simulation game.
Like virtual reality.
Yeah, a computer
I'm
thing.
just trying to update it.
Right. Like, they go to school there. Most people work in the Oasis.
It's not close to what we have now, but like
it's
we're
like
into
one step beyond where we are now.
Because
maybe one or
sort
two.
of, I mean, from what you've told me and from what I've picked up from the movie, it's that like the real world isn't as satisfying. Like everything is sort of, like you said, collapse. It's not like you don't go to work out in the real world.
Right, you go to work in the Oasis.
Yeah, because it's like the one thing connecting everything.
Yeah, sort of.
I mean,
yeah. And the inciting event, the man who created the Oasis has died, and he placed his will, like everything, all the money that he made by creating this, is hidden in like a super Easter egg somewhere in the Oasis.
Okay, that's cool.
And the creator is obsessed with 80s pop culture. So he leaves, on his personal website, he leaves a scoreboard and what he calls his almanac, which is like millions of pages of his personal musings. Mm-hmm. And whoever finds the Easter egg gets his entire fortune. The novel picks up with this kid who ends up being the one to find the first of the 3 keys that enable you to find this Easter egg. So you have to know a lot about 80s pop culture. You have to know a lot about video games. Like, it just... Starting to reread this book, which I did today, if I was more into gaming, I think that I would get a lot more out of the book, but it's still really fun because it's, it's a quest.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like what would sort of be every gamer's fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a movie, The Last Starfighter.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up the date because I don't want to get it wrong.
Okay.
But so it's like this kid plays one of those cabinet machines that you stand at and with the joystick.
Okay. I did not know they were called cabinet machines. I
mean, it's a cabinet. There's a name for it. I can't think of it. But the kid plays. I think the game is actually called The Last Starfighter. It's been so long since I saw it.
Okay.
It's 1984. But the game, like, he gets like the high score on it or something, and it turns out that game was actually a recruitment program, so that he has now been chosen to defend the planet for like this race of... Video game expert Alex Rogan finds himself transported to another planet after conquering the last Starfighter video game, only to find out it was just a test. He was recruited to join the team of best starfighters to defend their world from the attack. So yeah, I was right.
Yeah, I feel like either you've told me about that before, or I mean, it sounds kind of similar to Ender's Game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to rereading this book because I remember enjoying it the first time, and I want to be a snob when the movie comes out.
I mean, the movie itself, I mean, it has all these different cameos of different characters, like, because the book references a lot of shit. Yeah, I mean, in the first, like, 20 pages, like, the way this guy leaves the challenge for the Easter egg is a 5-minute video that's like a bunch of clips like from Heathers and John Hughes movies, and like there are recognizable extras from those movies. That's cool. Like clipped together in this 5-minute video. Oh, that's awesome. I think you would really like this book because you reference, I mean, not 80s shit, but you make references all the time, and I think that you would get more out of it because you'd get more of the references. Yeah. Well, I've definitely consumed a lot of 80s pop culture, and the majority of, like, Psych, they're kids of the 80s, so they reference 80s shit all the time, which appeals to me, so. Yeah, I don't remember when the movie comes out, but we'll go see it and we'll talk about it, I'm sure. Pretty soon. I mean, I don't think it will be in May, because if it is, it's got a lot to compete with. Yeah. I really hope not, but the biggest draw for me is that I guess there's like a car race or some some race. It might just be them trying to get to the next Easter egg, but there's like a huge, all these, they almost look like robots. They like almost a company competing for it, where they all get into their Oasis things, and they all get into these like NASCAR style vehicles, and then they just take off. But the kid, I guess his vehicle of choice is the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
That
so
sounds
there's
right.
like in the trailer, you see this like wide shot, and there's a fountain, and then this car zooms past, and you're like, holy shit, that's the DeLorean. And then it like actually gets closer to it, and there was a shot in one of the trailers where he like time jumped from, he was driving, and then he just blasted forward and then came out a little bit further in the street. It's just anytime I can see the DeLorean on screen, it's just amazing. But
the other thing about this is that the guy dies, and then obviously around the
guy that created
the guy, not the
he
kid.
just spoiled everything.
At the end,
the kid dies and nobody gets it. And
the guy dies.
March
and,
29th.
Okay.
Sorry.
Initially, there's all this hype, and everyone is trying to find this Easter egg. But then, like 5 years go by, and nobody finds anything.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the last things that the guy says in this video is, "I didn't get to test play this, so I worry that it might be too hard. But nothing I can do. I'm dying."
See, that would be the perfect challenge, because with what I've done with No Man's Sky, I would find that fucking
all the
Easter
time.
egg.
And it's like millions of dollars, probably billions.
I know.
Anyway.
Charles Westmoreland money.
We're not doing this.
All right.
What were we going to talk about next?
I don't fucking know.
Oh, I have
you
the
have a
list. But I remember we were going to talk about the show that we went to last night.
Oh, the indie rock show.
The indie rock show.
To bring it all back.
So our friend Zach, hi Zach, is...
Zach what?
Zach Revere, I think
you.
is how you say his last name.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zach. Is in a band called Hot Reader.
Which he explained to us what it means. I don't know.
No, I remember.
Okay.
Because I thought it was super interesting.
It was very intricate. What he like.
I probably don't remember all of the intricacies, but a hot reading is what you call it when you go to a psychic and they cheat. Like, they know things about you beforehand, so they basically tell you what you want to hear.
Okay.
Yeah. So, unless there was more to
No, I
it.
think that was it. I just remembered it being way more elaborate.
So, Hot Reader is based out of Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah.
Which
is
our
like
friend
an
Zach
hour
drums.
from us, so we figured we'd go and support him.
Yeah, and like I've been trying to get people together, like to go see one of these shows for a while. Not because I am particularly interested in indie rock, but because Zach is a friend, and I just thought it'd be fun. I don't do stuff like that very often,
Right? And I don't either, ever.
And
So it was when bands play, they usually play at a bar.
Yeah.
So this was called the Camel, right? That was just the Camel.
I think the Camel is a club. I don't think it's just a bar. Is there a difference?
I don't know. It's a bar with a dance floor.
Right.
And a stage.
Right.
So technically it's,
And bands play there a lot.
But the room,
it's not large.
It wasn't large. It was probably like
2 or 3 times our apartment.
Maybe. Yeah, lengthwise.
Yeah.
It was about this width.
Again,
a little
nobody
larger.
can see what that means.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well,
roughly 3 times the size of our queen mattress.
So it's like if you took your phone and it was like 12 times that. No, but anyways, so the thing about these rock shows that I found out, which is why we're old, is that they're so loud.
Oh my god, it was so loud.
In such a small space. And I get that they're bands and it's live and you want to feel like rock in your soul.
Rock should make you deaf, I guess. But so we walk in and we see Zach say hi, and they start setting up. And I realize that we are right near the stage, which means we are on top of these amps. And I'm like, let's go farther back.
Smart move.
So we are pretty close to the back wall.
Yeah.
Not out of any aversion to what was happening,
No,
but just
I
because
mean,
we knew.
We got there, like, the show started at 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got there at, like, 7:50.
Right.
But since it hadn't filled in yet, we didn't want to be up front and then have everyone come in and, like, go around us. So we figured we'd go to the back, save our ears some trouble, and just enjoy the music from back there.
Yeah. And I mean, and thankfully, you know, sometimes when you do things for your friends, you end up sitting through plays or, you know, musical performances that aren't very good. Thankfully, Zach's band was pretty great.
Yeah.
Like, the music was good. We had a good time.
I went, because my brother is and was in a band in high school when I was growing up, so I've been to a lot of those, more than you'd think, because I'm such a quiet and introverted guy.
Right.
But, like, we'd hear them play, and that'd be great, but then I'd have to stick around and hear all these other bands play that weren't particularly great, but it's like, you're there to support one person or whatever, and so you kind of have to stick it out. But,
yeah, I've seen a lot of bad plays.
Yeah.
Because people that I liked were in them. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that you should do.
Right. You
But
go and support your people.
Heart Reader was great. Yeah. I enjoyed their music. The other thing with it being so loud is I can't really understand the lyrics.
Yeah, you had said in the car when we're, you know, still yelling at each other over the deafness that, yeah, I mean, I would like to listen to their music outside of that context, so I can choose the volume.
Like, I don't understand, because the sound guy was in the back and he was making sure they could hear whatever, but why did they turn it up so much?
I don't
know. In a
know.
room that size, I don't think it's necessary.
And we were talking to our buddy afterwards, and he was saying that he thought the show, like, was possibly one of the best sounding that they had ever done. And I mean, things did sound very balanced. It didn't, you know,
it wasn't
like
modulated, over-modulated. Sound terms.
Sound terms. But the other funny thing was we did stay to hear one of the other bands, and as soon as Zach got off stage, he offered this enormous bag of ear
Cheetos.
Yeah, it looked like Cheetos, but they were earplugs.
Yeah, we probably should have taken them.
Yeah, I just panicked. I was like, what am I gonna do with the Cheetos?
I know, because I couldn't hear what he was saying.
Right.
And then I saw him stick them in his ear, and I was like, oh.
I'm not welding. I don't need that.
Yeah, but when we listened to the second band, we were in front this time.
We were way too close.
And that's why our ears were ringing for a majority of the night.
Like, I mean, I've been to a couple of concerts.
Yeah.
Harry and the Potters.
See, I've been to one concert.
Okay.
No, 2 concerts, technically. The Foo Fighters.
Sure.
All they played was Everlong.
That's their only song, to my knowledge.
It was just 26 Everlongs in a row. Because you have your live version, which is what that is, and then they did an acoustic version, and then they did an acapella version, and then they did it in reverse. Then the audience jumped in. They do have more songs than that.
Yeah, whatever. So
I was wearing the shirt the other day. That shirt that I got there.
I figured.
Yeah, and
but anyway, so you saw
Gambino.
You saw Childish Gambino?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Pittsburgh.
Huh. That's interesting.
It was a sea of white kids.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I saw the Backstreet Boys when I was 12, and Shaggy opened for them.
It wasn't me.
My mother was appalled. My younger brother was way too interested.
That sounds right.
Yeah. What else? I saw Adam Pascal once. He was one of the leads in Rent, for any of you that don't know. Yeah. Most of you, I would assume. Yeah, I saw a couple of bands in DC. My friends Mallory and Liz in high school, like, Mallory would want to go and see shows at Black Cat or the 930 Club. So we would go do that sometimes. Yeah. But the most recent show that I saw was Hank Green opening for Harry and the Potters. Or maybe vice versa. No, Hank did open for them. And that was a super fun show. Like, I mean, I am pretty unapologetically a nerd, but there's something about drinking a very cheap beer and jumping up and down to songs about particle physics and Harry Potter. That just, you know, you can't beat it.
No. It's like Time Lord rock.
Exactly. They're all friends.
I know.
But yeah, so I mean, the show was fun. I'm glad that we went. I was, it's something that we don't do very often.
No, and I mean, since we're currently unemployed,
right,
we had time.
And it seemed to mean a lot to our buddy that we were there,
Yeah.
So
we were happy we could go.
Yeah, absolutely. A good experience.
Yeah.
I forget if we were going anywhere with that. We just wanted to talk about Hot Reader.
Something we did.
It is something we did.
I think everything else that we wanted to talk about was kind of just things that were in the news or things that just happened. Because it has been short between shows.
You did want to talk about the Deadpool 2 trailer a little bit.
I just think it looks awesome.
It does look awesome.
Well, I mean, it's so... For those of you who haven't seen the Deadpool 2 trailer...
Watch it, because it's
pause
flawless.
This, watch that.
Yeah, we're not worth it. Go
right.
watch that.
Yeah, basically. But, they're introducing Cable, which, for the Deadpool universe, I mean, I don't know that much about it. I've only read some key issues and some one-shots and shit. I just love the character of Deadpool. I mean, Ryan Reynolds is the perfect Deadpool.
He captures it.
Yeah, when they chose him, or
I think
chose
he
himself.
chose them. Yeah. He chose all of us.
Exactly. He nailed it. And so I'm slowly learning about the Deadpool universe and all the characters. But Cable is like this time agent or some shit. And Josh Brolin fits that type character. But in the trailer, they do this one hilarious joke right at the beginning where they have like Josh Brolin's arm, because he has like this metal arm, sort of like Bucky. But they have like a green sleeve on it because they're going to add in the special effects. But in the trailer at the beginning, they're not there. They're just blank. And Deadpool chimes in and is like, what the shit?
Right.
It's not like we're trying to CG a mustache. Taking a dig at the Justice League, which,
because
as much as that hurts, it has to be done. I get it.
It does. And who better to do it?
Exactly. If anyone was going to do it, Deadpool.
Right.
And then Deadpool gets bored, and so they're waiting on the special effects. So he like acts out the trailer with 2 action figures, a la Toy Story.
And we were watching this, and then it ended, and I see Matt like immediately pick up his phone, and I was like, "You want to know what toy that was, don't you?"
Well, because
that's what Matt does.
They looked super legit, and I wanted to know if they were just movie toys or if they were toys that might be released one day.
If it's like a Marvel Legend, if you can pick that shit up.
It was a Marvel Legend.
Right, but it was painted.
It was a customized version of one of their released Marvel Legends figures. Which
you could have made that.
I know, but the cool thing is that like that's what a lot of the people I follow do. They take those figures and customize the shit out of them. So it's kind of cool to see it in a movie. It's like validating your hobby almost.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I thought it was also really cool that when he knocked the figures over, it had Wade written on the bottom of their boots.
Yeah.
That was cool. But yeah, the trailer looks awesome. I'm very excited for Domino. I didn't look up any of this shit.
No.
The actress playing her is pretty great. And then, we have Colossus and Negasonic back. And then there's a quick shot of like what looks like the X-Force. It happens so quickly you'd probably miss it, but people have been pausing it online and think that one of the people, and I haven't looked it up on IMDb, but one of the people is Terry Crews.
That would be magical.
Which is perfect because
Terry Crews is the right choice for everything.
And so I don't know. I'm just super excited for it.
Yeah, we loved the first one.
Yeah.
And, it's the movie that we were watching when Matt told me that he liked me. So it holds a special place in our hearts for that reason, but also just because it's a really fucking amazing movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I didn't know anything about Deadpool. I'd never heard of Deadpool before the movie came out, but now it's definitely like one of my top Marvel movies just because it's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, Ryan Reynolds is the absolute perfect choice because...
I mean, he was that before, like...
Right. Like
any character he's ever played has been snarky,
Deadpool. Yeah. He just gets to go hard with it.
Yeah. Oh, and Vanessa's back. I forgot about that, too.
Oh, yeah. Do we have anything else to say about Deadpool?
Hold on. I just want to read the plot summary on IMDb, which is posted by 20th Century Fox. After surviving a near-fatal bovine attack, a disfigured cafeteria chef, Wade Wilson, struggles to fulfill his dream of becoming Mayberry's hottest bartender, while also learning to cope with his lost sense of taste. Searching to regain his spice for life, as well as a flux capacitor, Wade must battle ninjas, the Yakuza, and a pack of sexually aggressive canines as he journeys around the world to discover the importance of family, friendship, and flavor, finding a new taste for adventure and earning the coveted coffee mug title of World's Best Lover.
Well, that just sounds delightful.
Isn't it? Because everything about the first Deadpool movie and this Deadpool movie, the marketing has just been so
flawless.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I know it's a broken record. I know even on the Guys Talking About Shit podcast, we've talked about that before. But, like, it should be talked about because the marketing is just fantastic. It makes you want to see it. And they can do literally anything they want with this character.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that, I mean... they have an actor who is on board to do all of the crazy shit because, I mean, he's pretty deeply passionate about Deadpool as a character.
Yeah.
So anything, be like, do you want to do, the shot on the chair with the bullets raining down? Absolutely. Right. Get me a chair. Yeah. It's just, I mean, that whole project is just being fantastically handled.
Yeah. That's really it with Deadpool.
The last thing I think that's on our list is going to be pretty anticlimactic after all of that, but Lady Doritos. Chips for women.
Yeah.
They don't crunch because apparently that's something that women have been missing, is a chip that doesn't make noise. As Seth Meyers so eloquently put it, something to the effect of, no snack is more perfect for the Me Too generation than a chip that tells women they have to be quiet.
I just don't understand what the purpose, why the money was spent on the research for this, why it even exists. I've never known anyone to complain that their chips crunch and almost like, I don't know, targeting at women. It makes it sound like they're trying to... like, women don't like it crunching for other people.
Right. Well, because women are there as room decoration.
Right.
We're not supposed to make noise.
And the whole point of a chip is mostly the crunch.
Right. Like, are you eating it because it tastes good? I'm eating it because it crunches.
Yeah.
So I put it on my sandwich and give it some texture.
Yeah, you
crunch.
have a sandwich and you have a bowl of chips. You take a bite of the sandwich, then you have a crunch. Take a bite, have a crunch.
Right. Like, what even is, like, are they, I'm at a loss. Are they soggy?
I
are
just
they
don't
stale?
know.
Like,
and, once they announced it and everyone was like, what the fuck? Like,
right.
They pretty much said, no, we're not going to do this anymore.
But, like, way to read the room before you went into that.
I don't get it.
We are, like, this is the era when, we're doing things for women, but... not like that. We're doing things like, ceasing sexual assault.
Yeah.
Raising awareness on important issues like chip noises.
I mean, it's like the pens for women.
We have pens?
Yeah, they're, I think it was Bic that made them.
Right.
Yeah.
Aren't they just pink?
Yeah, they're pink and purple.
Because, I mean, that's the only colors I write in.
Right.
When I make my grocery lists, write down my recipes. I don't leave the home.
Right.
Nor should I. I know my place. So, yeah. Lady chips.
It's just stupid.
It is
Nobody
stupid.
wants it.
And apparently, the company Doritos, which is owned by
company?
Pepsi, shut up, have decided that, after all the backlash, they're going to pull them. And I was watching a video that Ellen DeGeneres posted, and she was like, well, how like them to say, to give me my woman chips and then be like, no, you can't have it. Like, now I don't even get my own chips.
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
I don't know. Yeah, I have a lot of feelings on lady chips.
Yeah.
That's really all I had, though.
I know. It's just weird, and I don't understand it.
I don't either.
And I still would be curious as to how they are, like what they taste like, and just consistency.
In the Ellen video, she was like, you take away the crunch and you have a wet potato.
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought that was going to be the last thing, but there were two other things I had to talk about real quick. My buddy Moose, hi Moose, not that you're listening, because I don't think podcasts are your thing. Also, this is pretty late in the podcast, so I would imagine
I think we scared people off in the first few minutes.
No. He sent me this article that the headline was, "Not So Fast, Disney. Could a Comcast/Fox deal derail their acquisition plans?" And when I read it, I didn't fact check it immediately because I wanted to soak it in. And
I wanted to react first.
Exactly. I wanted to react.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Just like a man.
I'll just sit here and quietly chew my lady chips.
Perfect.
You can't even tell. They're so quiet.
Just write down your responses with that lady pen and hold them up, and I will say them. As
you should.
No.
No.
No. Back to what I was saying. What's important.
Right.
No, basically it was like Comcast is trying to sort of outbid Disney. And this article was from 2 days ago. So it wasn't like a article he sent me that resurfaced on Facebook, because I've been seeing that on the pages I follow, like Nerdist and Comic Book something.
The reputable sources.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of nerd news, yes. I don't particularly care for their spokespeople so much, but anyways, so this was a very recent article that was basically like, there are still things happening with Fox and what?
There are still things happening with Fox.
In terms of their deal, I wasn't finished speaking. God.
No, it's just me.
I think you want your own show.
Goodbye. This is the Hillary Crumb podcast.
Don't call it that. That's garbage.
You're garbage.
No.
Go ahead.
You're my garbage. So it's just about Comcast outbidding Disney with one of Fox's other properties, and basically retaining all the rights to these Marvel characters. Bullshit. Because I did fact check it before we went on the show, and the spokesperson from Disney was like, everything's going great with the Fox merger type thing, and I mean it's gonna take at least a year to 18 months before everything's finalized and everything, but it's a done deal. I mean, Disney is just a fuck ton of power.
Yeah, they're a monopoly.
Right. That's the word.
Just fuck ton of power. Read a book.
Hey, this isn't that. See, this is why I can't do things with you. You're insulting my intelligence because you think it's because I don't read. It's that my mouth moves quicker than my brain.
People are going to think that I actually think you're stupid.
Yeah, because you do.
I don't. We're not doing this.
Anyways.
Next week, we're going to talk about our relationship.
Happy Valentine's Day. No, so... back on point. Even if that were true, if Comcast somehow was able to get a hold of the rights for Fox... I don't remember the claims that the article was saying. It was from /film.com. But I really only think... Well, first, they wouldn't release any Marvel movies themselves, like new X-Men movies or I mean, Deadpool movies, like, on their own. They would definitely keep whoever was doing those movies in charge. And I think it would only be to sort of hold them hostage so that they get some of that Marvel money to be like, you know what you did with Spider-Man? You're going to do that for us, and we're going to get some of the money. Like, they're your characters, but we're not going to give them to you, but we retain the rights to them, but you're going to help us here. And, like, just this constant back and forth so that they can make bank and put it into other shit that they want, and the fans get what they want, because nobody is going to be like, oh yeah, fucking Comcast's X-Men movie was the best X-Men movie. Like, no. And I don't know what their studio would be called, but I'm sure it wouldn't be Comcast. And the other thing Moose sent me was, he asked me what my thoughts on the Joker movie.
It sounds garbage.
Well, yeah. In short, yes. The problem is that I've been saying for so long is that Disney, no, not Disney, DC doesn't know what they're doing. And it's
got their heads so far up their asses. They can't even see the light of day anymore. And,
I mean, the Joker is a very recognizable and very cool character that I understand the idea of making a movie based around him solely. I don't know why, when that didn't work with a whole team of villains. Granted, some of those villains were like D-list villains. Like, the Suicide Squad movie was just not great.
You had to say it.
Yes.
It was so mean.
The other thing is that they would be recasting the Joker, because this would be a Joker origin movie. Why? Don't know. But
who's asking for that?
Nobody. Nobody's asking for it. As a Batman-specific DC fan,
even
nobody's asking for it. I just want a solo Batman movie like they promised us.
That you don't have to be embarrassed about.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. Like, I'm not ashamed to admit that the Batman movie haven't been the greatest. Like, so Michael Keaton as Batman, he was good. It was 1989. It's a product of 89, like the 80s and 90s converging, and Tim Burton with his goofy artistry shit.
I wish you could see what he's doing right now.
If you want to see it, go to An Evening with Kevin Smith.
Oh.
1. Because he does that exact same thing.
Oh. Well, here I was.
Talking about Tim Burton, because Tim Burton once said he would never read a book written by Kevin Smith.
Oh.
Which is why Kevin Smith put that quote on the back of his Tough Shit book.
That's great.
But so that's where the original Batman movie lies. All the ones leading after that didn't really know what a comic book movie was, and we didn't know what a comic book movie could be, because that's before all the Marvel shit and like any of the good non-Marvel movies, which are few and far between.
Yeah, Marvel has redefined the form.
Right. And, you know, I think the character of Batman has really become what I know as the character, and what I've read in the comics and seen in like the animated movies, is Ben Affleck's Batman. Like, Christopher Nolan's Batman, although it was like dark and gritty and like realistic, I think that's the problem right there.
Yeah.
Is that it shouldn't, like, Batman can exist in the world that Batman lives in. Realistically, it shouldn't work. And Christopher Nolan's movies kind of play that line between being like, this could actually happen if this guy had all this money and all this other shit, but doesn't do it for me as far as how the character needs to operate.
This is like the one Batman thing that we can agree on, because those movies are so boring, like aggressively uninteresting.
I mean, the second one is the better of the three.
That's
with
great.
Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah, but Batman is not the interesting part of that movie.
Not entirely, because he doesn't go about it how Batman would go about it. And that's what drives me nuts. But that's another conversation. Right. I can do that on my own.
We're closing in on an hour.
That's
here,
fine.
babe.
I'm talking. You interrupted me for so long. So we're going to add some time here.
So I'm going to go.
No, so the other thing is that the DCEU is all over the place. The DC Extended Universe. That's what they decided to call it.
That's even worse. Like, DC head so far up ass.
It's that they have all these properties they want to make, but they're all over the place.
But they're all just Batman.
They're not all just Batman. The ones we're talking about right now are. They have other ones planned, but like the thing is, because DC is working with Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers has the rights to. I mean, I don't know how many of the DC characters, but they've made a lot of their money off of the Superman and Batman movies of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So those are the characters that they're like, people want to see Superman and Batman. Let's make Superman and Batman movies. Fuck Plastic Man. We're going to make Superman and Batman all over every year.
Like, when did Marvel start getting good? When they started picking up, like, these, like, D-list heroes that nobody's
even
particularly
Iron Man,
interested in.
like, as much as he is a part of the Avengers and whatnot, people were like,
like, not even
Shellhead?
hardcore comic book fans could tell you much about the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, yeah. No. Yeah.
So put Batman to sleep. We're so done with Batman.
That's not true. That's not what I'm saying.
I hate him so much.
I know, but you hate him for wrong reasons. You think that his world should exist in our world so that the things that are wrong in his universe can be fixed by real world problems when these are fictional characters.
I'm not doing this with you right now.
Your biggest argument about Batman and Gotham City is the systemic injustices.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a comic book.
Do you want to do this right now?
No. I want to get back to my main point.
Joker movie. Bad idea. Go.
It's that they're deciding to recast the Joker. Yet again.
Well, yeah. Who are they going to use?
They have Jared Leto.
They're not going to use Jared Leto.
They're not.
Jared Leto's garbage.
I understand that, but why would you fuck your own universe by recasting him yet again?
Because they've said that they're not doing a cohesive universe.
Yeah, but why?
Because Marvel did it best, and there's not even any room for improvement. Like,
I'm not looking for improvement. I'm looking for exact copies.
They can't.
I want to see
that.
Iron Man, but with Batman. That would be fine with me. I will draw it all over Tony Stark's face. I'll just draw a cowl and cape and like exact movie. I'll just dub in when they're calling him Mr. Tony Stark. I'll be like Mr. Bruce Wayne and like just do it that way. I don't care. This is how much the DCEU has fucked me as a fan.
Yeah.
Is that's what I'd settle for.
The only thing they've done well, like they did The Flash and they did Wonder Woman.
The Flash. The characters.
Series.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I didn't know because you referenced two things.
I did.
The television series on the CW.
The television series on the CW, The Flash, is great.
Yeah.
And I mean, and Ezra Miller as The Flash was great.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman.
Yeah. And mostly the character of Wonder Woman, because the movie itself, upon thinking back, there were a lot of things that were just like,
And I got kind of bored, but it was pretty well done. But generally, the DCEU has just fucked everything it's gotten its hands on, and not even in a like particularly fun or creative way. Just a bad fucking.
And I thought like when they announced they were doing Suicide Squad, that this was going to be a cool thing for them to try. And then they fucked themselves.
Bad.
Horde.
Not nice.
No. Like, they kind of were able to beat Marvel to the punches because at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, they were setting up for the Sinister Six, which would have been almost the equivalent, like a whole movie based around the villains instead of the heroes.
Right, which Marvel hasn't gotten to yet.
Right, and DC was able to get there first, and then they just did it awful.
They shit the bed.
They just fucked it.
Bad.
The only good thing about that movie is Batman.
Which you have said repeatedly. And I mean, seeing Justice League, like, it hurts me to say a little bit, but one of the more enjoyable parts was Batman.
Yeah, and this is a problem for other DC fans. Like, we talk about it a little bit on the Guys Talking About Shit podcast.
The GTAS.
The GTAS podcast. I was told I said it wrong.
They came for you.
Yeah, they did. So now I'm just going to get it right since they
Well, I got it right,
donated.
so you're welcome.
All right. You wouldn't have gotten it right if I didn't tell you the right way to say it.
I read.
You can read. Is that the Batman that was in Justice League was Whedonified made it more jokey and funny versus what was in Batman v Superman.
Right.
The problem with that argument is that they are two different versions of Batman.
Right.
Because in Batman v Superman, he's out for blood. He is hardcore Batman. In Justice League, he just wants his friend back. He wants Soups to come back.
Soups.
Yeah.
Soup-a-doop-a-doo.
But, I mean, yeah, he cracks a few jokes and whatnot in Justice League, but I really like that, though.
Yeah.
And especially because it's Ben Affleck, and, like, I dig Ben Affleck because of Kevin Smith introducing me to that, and he just has this, like, way about him that, like, his version of Bruce Wayne was awesome, and he was cracking jokes in Justice League, which made me laugh. He's like, I did not want you back. Like,
yeah. It was much closer to Lego Batman.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite iterations of Batman.
But not the movie.
No.
Right.
A full movie of Lego Batman was too much.
No, it was fine. It should have been shorter.
So maybe, like, the Frozen clip that they played at the beginning of Coca.
Yeah, so like 45 minutes instead of instead of 2 hours.
You know, the short. Anyway.
But yeah, so Leo DiCaprio was in talks of playing the Joker, which would be kind of cool, but it would definitely be more of a Heath Ledger style Joker because they have similar character types.
Yeah.
And then Joaquin Phoenix, who's a very weird guy, like in acting. He's very good, but I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited about a big name actor playing a recognizable character, whereas like, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to pull Marvel examples, but like, I mean, Tom Holland, and he's a kid, so he might not be the best example, but I didn't know what shit he was in before.
I don't think, I mean, like, what had Chris Evans done before?
I mean, well, Chris Evans had been in a bunch of teen movies.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I've seen one of them. I fell asleep during it.
And not another teen movie, which was like a scary movie parody movie of like teen movies. So like, I know it's
that was
crazy, right? It's like he's a quarterback of the football team, and he takes the ugly girl and makes her look pretty, and then there's this
that's
whole
what
rivalry.
Women are good for.
But no, it's like a parody of all those teen movies. That's what I opened with.
Yeah, but it was unclear.
I know, but that's different. That's my problem.
Are we done talking?
Forever, yes. Get out of my house. Anyways, so I guess that's it. She clearly wants to be done.
I'm done. I'm over it.
All right, great. Over our podcast, which is
I'm just over this
fun.
one right now.
Okay.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Since
We do
what?
that a lot. I don't know.
Whatever. All right. So, thanks for listening. We'll have another double episode week.
Will we?
Yeah, for fucking Valentine's Day. We talked about this. We're going to do that podcast, but Black Panther also comes out.
So my God. Fucking Black Panther.
We have Black Panther to talk about,
right.
and then we have, the Valentine's Day episode.
Right. We're going to talk about our relationship because we're self-centered.
It's our podcast.
Right.
We can do what we want. There's no rules.
I make the rules.
No, you don't. Gender equality. You're supposed to say gender's made up, and then...
Don't tell me what I'm supposed to say.
You're supposed to say those. Eat your soggy potato chips.
In silence.
In silence. And shut your food hole.
Just mash your food holes together. That's not what they're for. Watch The Good Place. It's amazing.
Another Michael Schur.
Sure.
Sure. I don't know how to say his last name.
Michael Sure.
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 Yeah. All right. At least it's been fun. You've made it drag on a little bit.
Yeah. So thank you for listening.
I'm your host, Matthew, the Dr. Danko.
And I'm Hillary Crumb.